Steph, so when you come to Rome, what's your favorite cheat meal that you like to have in Italy?
Ooh, yeah. Favorite cheat meal, the gelato is my favorite cheat meal in Italy. I enjoy it so much. They know how to do it. It's just as if somehow we are aligned. It's it's destiny to be eating this thing. It's the best.
As an athlete, like how much sugar do you actually are you actually able to eat?
I don't eat lots of sugar as an athlete. This is something that I have improved a lot on in the last couple of years. When I first entered the ATP tour, I was a little bit not as professional when it came to my diet and didn't follow it as strictly. But over the years, I have developed a very good mentality regarding my diet and the way I go about food and how I use it as fuel. So it has definitely been a very different Stefanos in terms of dieting. Uh, for example, now compared to 2017 or 18 when I first got introduced on the scene.
Are there lots of sacrifices you have to make, not just food?
There are lots of sacrifices that I didn't see as sacrifices at the time. Now I kind of maybe get an idea of why there would be sacrifices. I was never really a big party guy myself, but you know, when you're young, of course, these are times that you spend lots of time with friends and you spend lots of times doing irresponsible things, let's say, that you wouldn't otherwise do if you're a top professional tennis player. So these are fun times for sure when you are able to go out, when you're able to stay up late, when you're able to have anything you want without thinking how you might feel the next day. And this is something that I've been very professional regarding in my everyday life. And somehow I wish I could be more relaxed in that sense and let go. But at the same time, it's a blessing that I get to be so professional and get to experience pressure in my everyday life because I feel like that makes me better and that makes me live a life that's just like a full story where I have experiences every single day through my craft, and I think that's great.
Are you ever tempted to break out of that world as of the professional tennis world and just be something else?
There are times where you're kind of fed up of the routine and you get tired of the constant traveling and the constant repetition that comes with the sport, and you want to escape it and you want to go somewhere else and do something else and be with someone else. Um, but it is important to have a strong mindset and remind yourself why you're doing this. It becomes more of a lifestyle once you grow up and you spend a few years on the tour. It doesn't become this obsession. It doesn't become this superstition where you follow everything bit by bit every single day the same way, and you feel like sometimes you're a robot instead of a human being, where you're kind of not truly getting to feel things and prioritize your emotions. So it is important to let go of that. It is important to live at the same time when you're on the tour sometimes. Just let go and be a normal human being, a normal person, which is not easy because some players approach it in a completely different way, but it has served me really well when I switched to that mindset. It has made me feel like I'm healthier mentally, physically, spiritually, and it allows me to have a great time when I'm traveling around the world to play tennis simultaneously.
And something interesting you said actually in Barcelona that I wrote down was that you said, I'm a bit masochistic. Getting things the hard way is the most pleasurable
Thing in
feeling.
the world, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So you enjoy exactly that.
Well, of course, because that allows you to go beyond your limits when you're trying to sort of uh, get on hold of the most difficult during a match. And that's the period where you're suffering so much, your legs are getting tired, you feel them heavy, the opponent makes you move left and right, you just feel like you're pushing to your limits. And of course, that little bit that you add to the end that gets you that break that you're looking for, that sometimes you're also sort of surprised that it came. Um, Sometimes it comes easier than you expect, because you're expecting to push a lot to be able to give so much in order to get that break. Sometimes it comes easier. Sometimes it's so surprising that it ended, that you were able to give 110% and it came exactly when you needed it. So there are sort of these kind of emotions when you go through a match. When matches are easy, of course you feel happy that you were able to make them easy and sort of effortless and flamboyant, and just you were able to just navigate and control the match with flamboyancy without really worrying too much. These are also good wins, but the biggest pleasures that tennis has to offer are the ones where you exceed your expectations, where you defend incredibly well at the most big points, the pressure points that I like to call, and you are able to serve big in these pressure points, in these important moments where the opponent gets on hold of the momentum.
Does that also mean you then want to go and play the biggest challenge there is, like Novak Djokovic?
Yes, I think everyone wants to. And I think it's wrong if you don't want to, because you're avoiding the best of what your game has to offer. And you're stuck somewhere in mediocrity, and you're stuck somewhere where you're just ordinary and average. And I don't want to be ordinary and average. And it's important for me to have these battles on the court that one day I'm going to be telling my grandkids that I was able to push through them, or sometimes I failed, and that's there's nothing wrong in failing. It's just giving yourself the opportunity to push to the max and to try and get on hold of that big moment.
This tournament's celebrating the 80th anniversary this year. Why do you think a tournament like this has survived as long as it has?
Well, first of all, I would like to say to that there is so much passion among the people here about tennis. And we get to travel a lot around the world, and we don't see people that are so passionate about tennis. I think they also it also, in a way, they owe it to the fact that I also believe that strongly that they have a TV channel dedicated just for tennis in this country, and I think that's a big reason that it goes that kind of is not as much exposed. I've been watching it myself when I was younger, so that has a big impact on people. People love sports, and when you dedicate something like this just for tennis, it brings new crowds, it brings new people into the sport. I think it's also engraved in the culture, you know. I would say that the sport here is number one when it comes to in an individual sport, and one that you get to play on your own and not a team sport. And it has been a sport where Italians have been dominating for a lot of years, perhaps not in the number one or number two or number three rankings, but there have always been Italian players doing well on the tour, and that definitely adds to it.